Today is World Restart a Heart Day, a global day to raise awareness about CPR, which increases the chance of surviving cardiac arrest, something that happened to a fan during the Ohio State football game last month, and his story proves that knowing CPR can be critical.
There were thousands of fans. A bit of a battle of two great marching bands at the time and some players making power moves on the field. And as 10 TV's Tracy Townsend shows us, there was also a bystander who made a move and helped save a life.
The worst thing you do is not do CPR when they need it.
Even when the need is at a jam-packed Ohio Stadium on game day. Colby Morris is telling me what happened when he and his college buddies reconnected at the shoe for the OSU-OU game.
As I was kind of moving up in the crowd, I happened to notice, a fan lying kind of in the breezeway tunnel area, right where it opens up to the stadium. And, he's lying there on his side. And I saw a couple people in red vests.
When I got to the C deck, I remember getting really dizzy. Things just seemed to get very dark and black, and I felt like I was going to pass out.
The fan is Carmen's own, and he doesn't remember much after that. He did talk with me from his home in California.
So scary. Oh, so you were with your family, your wife?
Yeah, my wife and my son were right there when I went down.
Down on the field, the game was underway, crowd spirits were up, and it was loud. Colby, who is an OU grad and ICU nurse in South Carolina, teamed up with two Red Cross volunteers and took action by performing CPR. And within a minute, someone handed him an AED. He says 56-year-old Zone was starting to become alert when Colby recognized that his eyes were starting to roll back.
So start CPR again. You just start all over. That's the basic life support, the BLS algorithm. And, kind of shouted like, hey, you got to tell me, listen for the AED again, because it'll tell you when it's ready to read the patient. It'll identify automatically. And so she listened for a little bit, and it told me to stop. So we stopped again. It was able to shock again, so it delivered a second shock, and he came back right away that time.
Carmen was immediately transferred to the Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center, and as a retired first responder himself, he told me he is forever grateful for bystanders.
There was an ER doctor, emergency department doctor that took over care for me and very quickly when he got on scene with Colby there. The staff at,
It's okay.
The staff at Ohio State, the Wexner Medical Facility were fantastic. The Ross Heart Hospital were amazing. And I think I was very fortunate that day, just having Colby.
Incredible. Tracy Townsend reporting their life-saving information. World Start a Heart Day.